Have you ever found yourself in a conversation just wishing you could know what the other person was really thinking? You know, those little hidden signals that tell you what's actually going on? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down today. How to read those true intentions.
I mean, it's the question we ask ourselves all the time, right? Whether you're in a big negotiation at work, on a first date, or just having a tough conversation with a friend. Being able to understand the subtext, well, it changes everything. It's really the key to getting through our social world just a little bit better.
And that's because so much of what we actually communicate has nothing to do with our words. Nope. It's in our posture, it's in our tone, it's in our gestures. You see, the real conversation is happening on a nonverbal level. And the good news? It's a language, and you can absolutely learn how to speak it. So how do we start listening to this hidden conversation? Let's get one thing straight right away. This is not about mind reading. It's not a superpower. It's a skill. And like any skill, it's built on one simple thing: observation. So the whole goal here is to shift your mindset. You're not trying to be a psychic. You're trying to be a detective. You're looking for clues. And trust me, people are constantly sending out signals, most of the time without even realizing it. Your job is to just get better at spotting them and figuring out what they might mean. All right, let's start with the most obvious place, the biggest channel of unspoken communication, and that's body language. This is where those gut feelings we get about people usually come from. Okay, but before you can spot anything that's out of the ordinary, you first have to know what's normal for that specific person. This is what we call their baseline. It's just how they are when they're relaxed and comfortable, their personal quirks. Does your boss normally talk with their hands a lot? Does your friend always tap their foot? That's their baseline. And this baseline is so important because without it, you're basically just guessing. Think about it. If someone is naturally fidgety, seeing them fidget doesn't really mean much. But if a person who's normally super still suddenly starts wringing their hands, that's a deviation from the baseline. And that's a signal you want to pay attention to. Now, to keep this super simple, let's just focus on 3 key things to watch. First, check out the hands. Are they open and relaxed, or are they hidden away in pockets, or maybe clenched up? Next, the eyes. Is the person holding steady eye contact, or are their eyes darting around, looking for an escape? But here's a pro tip. The feet are often the most honest part of the body. They're wired to take us where we want to go. So if their feet are pointed at you, they're engaged. If they're pointed towards the door, well, their mind is already halfway out of it. But our bodies aren't the only things giving us clues. The way we speak is also packed with information. So now we're going to shift gears from watching to listening, really listening between the lines. The actual words a person uses, that's just one piece of the puzzle. It's the how. The tone of their voice, the pace they're speaking at, the pitch. That's what gives the words their real meaning and reveals the emotion behind them. So what should you listen for? Again, you're listening for changes from their baseline. Does their voice suddenly get a little higher when they talk about a certain subject? Do they start talking a mile a minute, or maybe slow way down? A sudden spike in filler words like and or a quick shift to really formal corporate language can also be a huge sign of discomfort. Okay, this is where it all comes together. This is where you go from amateur to pro. The most powerful signals you will ever see are when there's a total mismatch between what someone is saying and what their body is doing. These inconsistencies are basically giant flashing red lights. So for example, your coworker says, "Yeah, I'm really excited about this project," but their arms are crossed tight, their foot is tapping, and they won't look you in the eye. Or someone tells you, "I'm totally open to feedback," but they're physically leaning away from you with a frown. These clashes tell you that there's definitely something else going on under the surface. The legendary dancer Martha Graham famously said, "The body cannot lie." And she was right. We can choose our words so carefully, can't we? But our bodies, they have a way of broadcasting our true feelings. So here's the rule. When the words and the body language are telling you 2 different stories, always trust the body. Okay, so we've talked about a lot here. How do you actually put it all together in a way you can use? Let's boil it all down into a practical toolkit that you can start using literally today. Here it is, your 4-step process. First, number 1, always establish the baseline. Number 2, look for clusters of signals. A single crossed arm could mean anything, but crossed arms plus a tapping foot plus a clenched jaw, now that's a pattern. 3, spot the contradictions. When the words say yes, but the body is screaming no. And finally, number 4, and this might be the most important, always consider the context. Maybe their arms are crossed because they're freezing cold, not because they're closed off. Context is king. And look, let's be really clear about the purpose of all this. The goal here is not to become some kind of human lie detector or to go around accusing people of things. The real goal is to build empathy, to use this as a tool to ask better questions, to understand people on a deeper level, and to build stronger, more real connections. So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. This whole skill set isn't really about reading people. It's about becoming a better, more perceptive listener. So now that you have the tools to see that hidden conversation, how are you going to use them to truly hear what people are trying to tell you?